the stream. We have so much to talk about today that I didn't expect that we would. So obviously there's no real avoiding the fact, the elephant in the room. I guess MK12 has just been like, just confirmed, like officially. Obviously, complete disclaimer before I say anything at all, because, you know, as a content creator, I think it's important to kind of be extremely transparent. I don't know anything about the next game. I know about as much as everyone else does. I have no idea, you know, what it was going to be, exactly when it was going to come out, anything like that. I don't know anything. So this is as much of a surprise to me as it is everyone, which is why I want to chat about this today. It's one thing having like teases and hints over the year or the year and a half or however long that Ed Boon and like devs on Twitter have been kind of like, you know, kind of squeezing in little bits of info here and there. And it's another thing entirely to hear anyone that's kind of in the know straight up like mention it so casually in passing. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So the confirmation, I'm a bit hesitant to show the video of it because apparently it was some kind of like investors call or some kind of something like that. The concept of it and the context of the video is completely over my head because I just don't understand that side of the industry at all. But it was just mentioned in passing that, you know, MK12 is coming later this year with like an ambitious release window or something like that. Like every creator out there is like making videos about it. So I don't think I need to go into detail. And obviously the last thing I want to do is step on any toes and like piss anyone off, especially when it comes to Mortal Kombat, because, you know, MK is very true and close to my heart as a creator, as a professional, as a fan of the game. The last thing I want to do is step on anyone's toes, but I will talk about it, you know, because at the end of the day, I mean, we'd be silly not to, right? Because we're MK creators. We've been waiting for any like crumb of confirmation of anything that's coming for so long. And now we have the closest thing to like hard confirmation that we have ever got on what the next game is. I want to talk about it. Yeah, so Ed Boon hasn't like officially confirmed, set in stone, like beyond any reasonable doubt, what the next game is or any kind of release window. It's just heavy teases and heavy suggestions, but nothing absolutely concrete, guaranteed, right? And that's what the new information is, because it's basically done in a platform that, I mean, it's really hard to assume otherwise given the context. So where the game was confirmed was under a circumstance that is very unlikely to be wrong. Like, it's the closest thing to hard confirmation that we've ever got. I don't know if this was intentional. I don't know if it wasn't. I'm not going to assume either way. But regardless, obviously, it's not like the big cinematic trailer reveal that we're used to seeing for NetherRealm games, which I have no doubt will still come. You know, I have no doubt at all that we're still going to see like an initial trailer showing everything off at some point this year. As much as it is a shame to have it confirmed this way, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm just happy to see it confirmed in any fashion. But with this new information, that now lets us look at other comments that we've heard through the year and kind of helps us piece together a completely hypothetical timeline. Nothing I'm about to say is guaranteed or set in stone. It's just I'm going to explain my thought process and how I predict we might see certain things this year. I hope you stick with me. This is going to be just a completely hypothetical timeline based on other information that we've kind of obtained over the last few years, whether it be via social media posts, whether obviously Ed Boon Q&A sessions, other information here and there, and even stuff that's extremely recent with like the recent Evo announcement. So let's have a look at opportunities that we could see information building onto MK12 as we go through the main part of the year. So let's have a look. So this is an article on Eurogamer, which was put up yesterday, which is Warner Bros. Just announced Mortal Kombat 12 for release in 2023 in a financial call. The surprise confirmation of NetherRealm's next fighting game came without fanfare or a trailer, so which you'd normally expect alongside the big reveal of a game such as a new Mortal Kombat. But and that's the case. It's not really like, it is certainly a reveal. Well, no, it's I would definitely say it's a confirmation, but it's not necessarily a reveal as such. And just again, just to give credit, this is a Eurogamer article by Wesley and Paul, who does a lot of fighting game stuff on Eurogamer, and definitely makes some like really, really good content for fighting games on the website. So basically, if you see a fighting game article by Wesley and Paul, it's probably a good one. And then this is the video right here. We're not going to be watching it because the content is kind of talked about. There's nothing so far on Mortal Kombat 12 from NetherRealm socials or Warner Bros. Games. And NetherRealm chief Ed Boon has yet to tweet about it either. The confirmation of this comes as no real surprise, given the success of MK11. Boon has teased a number of times, most recently in November, alongside the suggestion that some of the series' 3D era characters would return. This announcement also rules out Injustice 3 as NetherRealm's next game, although that may still be in the works. More as we get it. So, as it currently stands, we are at a point where that's what we're working with. It is not a massive, huge, like, public reveal confirmation. I don't know if it was intentional. I'm certainly not going to speculate and, like, assume, because that obviously gets us nowhere. But the fact is, the cat is out of the bag. People are talking about it. And it looks extremely likely that, yes, there is going to be an MK12 this year at some point. Now, moving on from there, let's move the conversation on from, okay, so as an absolute baseline, it is looking likely that we are going to get a new game this year, and it obviously is going to be MK12, which I think is very, very cool. But let's take that with some of the other information that we have and kind of piece it together. So next thing, back in kind of early December time, Ed Boon did another, I think the most recent Q&A session, and on said session received the following question. Can we expect a reveal for your next game soon? By soon, I mean the next 6 months. So given the fact that this was in December, the next 6 months would basically be taking it to, you're talking like May time. I mean, December, 6 months. So December to January to Feb, March, April, May, June. So basically the first half of the year, right? To which Ed Boon straight up replies, likely. Now, the confirmation we heard last night, I don't imagine is what Ed Boon was talking about. That, to me, says, right, so let's realistically think, what events within the first half of the year does that open up scope for an official reveal? Obviously, Combo Breaker is in May, which, from a community standpoint, will have a lot of eyes on it. I don't know if I believe that it's a large enough event for a full reveal like that. And by that, I mean, Mortal Kombat is one of the highest selling franchises. I think it is the highest selling franchise in fighting games, like kind of pound for pound. But they also release a lot more games than the competition as well. But it does mean that they sell a lot of copies. It's a fully mainstream title, no matter how you spin it. It sells a lot. It's super mainstream. And with that, obviously, comes, if you want to get as many eyes as possible on a reveal, you typically go to events that have the largest kind of awareness, right? So we're thinking stuff like your Summer Games Fest, your E3s, your hell, maybe even like your Gamescom or anything like that, right? Your Game Awards. So if we're thinking of events of that scale within the first half of the year, I don't know, because like if they're doing like, I feel like we'll get a tease before we get any form of official reveal. Like for me, that's the way I see this going. I feel like genuinely we get some kind of initial tease somewhere that in said tease, not to kind of have an announcement of an announcement, but like some kind of video that just confirms that the game exists officially, that they can obviously start promoting on socials and everything, and then within it will say watch XYZ event for more information or a full reveal or whatever it is, because that's what they did for MK11, and that's what we have to remember. MK11 saw a cinematic teaser at the Game Awards, and at the end of that trailer they said the release date, which was 4 or 5 months later, and as well as gameplay debut. So this was like, you know, mid to late December, and then in the trailer it said gameplay reveal a month later on like the 18th of January, I think it was. And then that became the reveal event that we remember, right? They had one in LA, they had one in London. What that means is clearly that's like a formula that has worked for them in the past. And I would kind of not be against seeing them do that just again, right? Kind of like rinse, repeat the same idea where somewhere there is a tease, and in the tease, it's right. This is just simply confirming the existence of the game. A full trailer is on the way later. Now, that full trailer, potentially, that again, that none of this is confirmed. This is completely, I'm theorizing. This is completely hypothetical. There are so many, or so much scope for that to be in the summer. So if we're thinking a full, like some kind of beefy, real, like chunky video, you've got through the rest of Summer Game Fest, you've got E3, whatever kind of various like state of plays or anything like that there may or may not be through the rest of the year. But one event in the FGC that absolutely is large enough to facilitate a full like global reveal is EVO. Literally, like within the last week, the EVO 2023 lineup has been confirmed. And as you can see, on said lineup, Mortal Kombat 11 is present. Now, this means a few things. Number one, it is extremely unlikely that anything will be releasing before August, because this is August, I think it's the 2nd to the 4th this year. But obviously, if there was going to be a new Mortal Kombat coming out before then, it would be at EVO instead of MK11. It kind of just, you know, that really just seems like common sense to me. So to me, this means that, in my opinion, we're unlikely to see anything come out before this, but the scope for some kind of announcement or some kind of showing, whether it's going to be like a release date announcement, because remember, according to the recent information, it is going to be a 2023 release. And that means that we're going to have to find out the release date sooner or later, usually sooner if it's that short of a window, right? That also goes along with the fact that, of course, we know that, you know, yesterday's information has pretty much confirmed a 2023 release, but also this was one of the earliest teasers from Ed Boon in the most recent Q&A session was this, which, can we get a release window for your next project? I shouldn't 23 answer that. So teasing 2023, right? And this was already after Onslaught was confirmed. So this was like talking about a new full-on game as opposed to like the mobile game that's coming out. But it isn't the mainline game, right? That's what we're talking about is the main game. Now, going back to EVO on this. So I was saying before about how Combo Breaker is probably not like a large enough commercial event to facilitate like a massive global reveal. I wouldn't say it would never happen, but at the same time, I'm not expecting it. Something like EVO, with the scale that EVO has, where, you know, if we're talking mainline EVO time, viewership can be absolutely staggering. I could see something happening here. Or at the very least, like, let's say that, you know, they go against what I predict and they do tease something at Combo Breaker, and then it's like teased at Combo Breaker, full gameplay reveal at EVO, and it's playable at EVO, right? And they basically do what Street Fighter 6 was doing, which was they had a playable build and it was kind of doing its convention tour around the world, and it was basically playable everywhere. Imagine if they do that for MK12, and then MK12 ends up being playable at all these different events, and before you know it, it's here and everyone's already playing it and everyone's getting a tryout for it. Because remember, if we're talking like a release at some time this year, I don't see it releasing at like the absolute last point. That's your holiday release window, right? I would love to see like a September/October release. Obviously, November's cutting it kind of close. December is like literally right at the end of the year. But before then, you've got potential for things like demos. You've got betas. You've got, again, like the convention tour that fighting games tend to take. There's so much to potentially cram in to this summer. Like, this summer could be absolutely gargantuan for new Mortal Kombat information, because of how much they will have to fit into what will comparatively be a very small amount of time. To me, that's kind of the timeline I can see, right? Is if it is in fact coming out this year, that only leaves so many opportunities for places it can be revealed, places we can get trailers, information we can receive, and then obviously once it's announced, provided they do want to go the direction of things like demos or betas or even just like bringing it to like conventions to be played. I'd like to think they'll do the same thing for this, but obviously we just have to wait and see to officially see it, but it's certainly something I would not be surprised to see. But yeah, like I would love to see some kind of like smaller tease earlier in the year, and then in the tease itself, it would reveal something like, you know, full reveal, gameplay reveal at and then large event, right? Let's say they do a tease on, like, maybe they do their own independent reveal. Maybe they don't even do it on like a stream or anything. They kind of just drop a trailer one day. And obviously, you know, WB and NetherRealm and that they seem to have a very good relationship with Jeff Keighley. So my assumption would be, if it's E3 or Summer Game Fest, maybe Summer Game Fest. But obviously, I mean, someone in chat before was saying, right, that is it that Warner are confirmed for E3 already? So I mean, either or, right? I mean, they're both going to be huge. So they're both potentials. And then obviously you've got Evo. But I would like to see a reveal or something before Evo, and then Evo, the game is like playable, and they've got like units and like demo stations and stuff there. I would love to see that. And then obviously that's August, right? Evo is August. So that only leaves a couple months left until the end of the year. And if they are still aiming to hit an end of the year release, then, you know, should they do anything like a beta or whatever, then that obviously doesn't leave them a lot of time to kind of cram into the rest of it. At the very least, no matter what happens, I expect it is going to be a busy second half of the year for Mortal Kombat fans. And I'm all for it. One thing that I do assume, though, chat. So, if we're operating on the assumption that this wasn't, this kind of like, this new information wasn't really meant to come out, do we think this will kind of like, or have any potential to kind of bring an official reveal forward? This kind of thing, like you can't just pretend it didn't happen, right? Like, just with the way the internet is, obviously people aren't going to stop talking about it. Does that kind of force your hand into bringing the initial reveal forward? This is not the most optimal way to hear about the new game coming, but it's got the internet excited. It's got people talking about it. I feel like it is like 99.9% people being excited about it, and like 0.1% people being like, oh man, I'm not even excited. I didn't want to find out this way. Which, to be fair, it is a valid point of view. So if you do share that point of view, fair enough. But I feel like people are still extremely excited. Even to hear it in this way, it's like instantly, like immediately, articles are getting written about it. People are making videos about it. Like, the internet is just on fire, like screaming with excitement because Mortal Kombat 12, Mortal Kombat 12. Even for this. So surely you capitalize on that, right? Or do you kind of just, you know, kind of stick to your guns and just go through as and when the timeline was already kind of set? Either way, it's very exciting. It's a very exciting time to be an MK fan. It's like I said, we are quickly approaching the 2-year mark of finding out that MK11 wasn't getting any more support, and that was going to kind of be it for the game. So to kind of go into that 2-year point, almost to the day, with some information that, you know, there is a bright light at the end of the tunnel, and we're getting closer to it. That makes me feel very happy. Because I don't know about you, chat. I really like Mortal Kombat. I want to play a new one.